Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm Chris, and today we get to talk about the ending of the last episode, episode 5 of Loki, which came out last night and is premiering today. A lot of crazy reveals, some cool Easter eggs, and so much more going on, as well as a huge cliffhanger that has us wondering what exactly does the final episode have in store for us, as we have to wait one more week for some huge answers. Now, Loki is a very unique Disney Plus show in that it is starting to have some really big connections and some consequences for the whole MCU, which up to this point, WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier really haven't had just yet. But in this video, we're going to talk about what exactly happened and what we can expect to happen in the final episode. I know in my live stream, a lot of people are saying it's a little confusing, that they're jumping around so much, and that there's just a lot of unanswered questions. So let's highlight those questions exactly. Who is the big bad behind the TVA? Who is Renslayer working for, and does she actually know who it is? Will Sylvie and Loki end up actually being together in the end, or will one of them die and will they be alone? What will happen to the TVA by the end of this series? And what are the actual ramifications moving forward for the MCU? That's about what we're going to cover, as well as an ending explained for this last episode, so be sure to watch till the end of the video so you can get all of those answers. Also, be sure to subscribe. We will be ending the And a C Marvel Chair giveaway very, very soon here. All you need to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and make sure you're commenting in the videos. And if you'd like a second chance to enter to up your odds of winning, you can follow me on Twitter at TheCultureChris. Now, let's start off by talking about the ending of that episode. It ends with Sylvie pruning herself and ending up at this void, a limbo world where everything that gets pruned ends up going. They're not actually capable of erasing the matter, so they hide it away at the end of time. Sylvie proves herself because she knows she needs Loki in order to figure out what is going on, and it is still her ultimate goal to take down the TVA. Once we get to this void, we see Loki is there and they have to fight this big, huge cloud demon in order to survive. All of these other Lokis who have joined with him, who have found him and said, come with us if you want to stay alive, are explaining that this cloud demon doesn't allow them to leave, and he's in charge of this world, the void where they are staying. We see a ton of different Lokis. We see there's a lot of Loki politics, and that Loki never will change. He's backstabbing, and he's a betrayer, and all he wants to do is what is best for him. However, we see Tom Hiddleston's Loki, our main Loki, has had a huge change of heart, as we see him getting close with Sylvie and sharing that he actually does trust her, and she him. I mean, she pruned herself to go get him, so obviously there is something important happening here between the two of them that is something a little bit more than I need to use this person, but it's an actual trust that shows a requirement of the two in order to get the job done. Sylvie discovers that she is able to enchant the big cloud demon that is hovering over the void and eating everything that gets sent there, and she thinks that if she's able to enchant it, then she can figure out what it is that's controlling everything, who it is behind the TVA. Eventually we get to this part where they have a big fight with the cloud demon. They are capable of enchanting it, and the cloud opens up and we see a huge mansion or a huge building that is what we can presume possessing whoever is in charge of the TVA. There is no post-credit scene and there is no reveal as to who this character is, but of course we have some ideas and some speculation. There are for me two options. It's King Loki from the trailers that we've seen and haven't seen yet, even in the big brawl with all of the other Lokis, which was ended with a lot of them getting killed or losing hands to Alligator Loki, and it could also be Kang the Conqueror. Personally, I'm doubling down with my thoughts that it will end up being Loki at the end, and I've done a whole video on that you can check out. However, the options are really Kang or Loki. I just don't see how it could be anybody else and not be confusing or be a disappointing reveal moving forward for the story of Loki, and then as well for the whole MCU. I'm also leaning towards Loki because I feel like Loki is a little bit more of an explainable result than Kang is, but we'll have to wait and see till next week. Let's talk about Renslayer now. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking, but Chris, Kang and Renslayer are together in the comics. Well, in this specific episode, we learned very specifically what I believe is that Renslayer does not know who the big bad is, who is in charge of the TVA. She has also been going through blindly, and she has this little interchange with B-15, where B-15 looks at her and realizes she actually doesn't know who it is. And that Renslayer does want to find out, and she does want to know what exactly is going on. And then directly after that, she's in the hallway and she calls Miss Minute to help her get files on the beginning of the TVA. And Miss Minute says, oh, that's a big task, but she says she needs it because whoever is in charge of the TVA is in trouble. At this time, she's completely alone. There's no reason for her to pretend like she doesn't know who they are. Not even to Miss Minute, who probably ends up knowing everything at the end and works with directly or is a creation of whoever's running the TVA. During this little interchange, though, when she is completely alone and has no reason to lie about whether or not she knows what is going on, makes me think she doesn't actually know who is running the TVA. Which means, if it is Kang, she's not with Kang at the moment. Or if it is Loki, it is irrelevant because she's not with Kang at the moment. Now, there is a possibility that maybe she's working undercover for Kang, and she actually is with Kang. But Kang needs the TVA taken down, and she, all of these years, has been working her way up to figure out how to take down the TVA. And she's just been deep undercover throughout this entire experience so that she could help Kang take down the TVA. But I'll probably do a full video on this theory tomorrow for you guys to have. I'm going to lay out all of the reasons why I think that's a possibility, but I do think that could be a really cool twist that we wouldn't necessarily see. And there could be a post-credit scene where she goes to Kang and says, it's done, the TVA is destroyed, even if it wasn't her that destroyed it and it was actually Loki and Sylvie. But that being said, she clearly doesn't know who it is, and that means that her relationship with Kang isn't the reason why she's working for the TVA, at least not from what I can tell. And that moves us to the other big question I know a lot of you guys have. What is going to happen to the TVA come the end of the Loki series? Now, personally, I believe that it is going to be destroyed. It's going to fall apart. And that's going to lead to potentially us seeing a little teaser of Kang, or in the future of the MCU, Kang being able to come to his true power because the TVA is no longer watching over. There definitely are a ton of Kang Easter eggs in this entire series, and we already know that Jonathan Majors is going to be playing Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So there are some huge details around Kang that makes him an exciting character to talk about, but I do believe the TVA will come crumbling, it will fall apart. Maybe Loki will try to run what's left of it, making him the most formidable force in the universe, his words, and after Loki is completely over, he will remain in the background doing his own thing. I do think Sylvie or Loki will die. I don't get any pleasure from that, and I certainly hope it doesn't happen because I enjoy seeing the two of them on screen. I enjoy seeing Loki happy. But, you know, if being a Loki like we saw in the first and second episode, even into the third, means you always lose, I feel like if Loki ended up running the universe but Sylvie was dead, he would still have lost. And we saw that in the interchange between the two of them when they were wrapped up in the blanket in this episode, where he was talking about ruling the world and how Sylvie said, after this is all done, maybe there's a timeline you can rule. And he was like, yeah, then I can be happy. But his true happiness is with Sylvie, and we're seeing that whether it's just being able to talk to somebody and trust them, or it is actually something romantic, I don't know, and maybe we'll never actually find out. However, I do think if that's how it ends, or the other way around, Sylvie survives and Loki actually dies, and she takes over the mantle of Loki in the main timeline, all of these options, but I do think this ends with one of the two of them probably dying. And that's just an instinctive gut feeling. I don't have any reason to believe that otherwise. I haven't seen a leak or anything like that. I just feel like that's the direction that this has to go. Loki can't win all the way around. So yeah, they take the TVA down, but at what cost? Yeah, Loki's the king of his own timeline, but at what cost? Maybe being a Loki really does mean you just always lose. And then the last big question I think needs to be covered is, what are the actual ramifications moving forward for the MCU? If Kevin Feige has to say Loki has the biggest impact on Phase 4 in the MCU moving forward, what is it? Well, I think it's fairly obvious. The TVA comes crumbling, and we get into Spider-Man No Way Home, where we start to see the cracks in the multiverse, eventually leading to the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange's second movie, which is going to be an awesome installment featuring the crazy leftovers of the crumbled TVA. And now, of course, we have Wanda manipulating timelines as well with the Darkhold. All of this is going to create the perfect storm that will require Doctor Strange to try to fix it. And who knows, maybe he can't fix it, and that will lead to Secret Wars, Battleworld, and a lot of other cool Marvel projects coming down the road. Super interesting, and I can't wait to see how that does play out. But the effect immediately is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. We've kind of seen that with the Lokis now. Imagine if these different Lokis who we saw in this episode all had their own movie previously, and then they were brought together here. That's what Spider-Man No Way Home seems to be brewing up to be. Different Spider-Men meeting together in one universe. Different variants of the same creature from different timelines. And that's what this Loki episode really was Spider-Man No Way Home. And they have to defeat the big bad. And some of them are perfect and some of them are imperfect. And all of this different cloud of perfection, that's going to be Spider-Man No Way Home, except we have the backstory for the characters because we saw their movies already within the last 20 years. So how exciting is that going to be? And then the Multiverse of Madness movie is going to blow our minds. My most anticipated Marvel project by far. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be an absolute game changer for Marvel. But guys, an incredible episode. So many different hidden Easter eggs. If you saw the Thanos chopper, or if you saw Frog Thor, or Fror, and a ton of different Easter eggs hidden throughout the episode. Shout them out in the comment section down below. I know I saw a bunch of them, but there's no way I saw them all. So let me know what you saw so that I'm able to also go back and take a look at it. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode to the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, subscribe to the channel. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads, as we're covering all things major movie and television news, Star Wars, MCU, DC, Harry Potter, and much more right here on Cosmic Culture.